On the Channel 3 News this morning, fires across the region keep crews busy into the night. A Burlington teacher is accused of having sex with a student, and a big step forward for immigrant driver's licenses in Montpelier.
From WCAX, Vermont's most trusted news source, this is the Channel 3 News.
Good morning. It is 6 o'clock. I'm Molly Smith.
And I'm Gary Sadowski, and somebody's missing.
Yes, Steve is out on assignment this morning. We missed him a lot, but I'm sure he's having a lot of fun.
I'll bet he is. Yep, working early in the morning. Well, we're working early in the morning.
Nobody works earlier than us.
Let's take a look outside. Skywatch 3 is showing us another great start to the day. Not a cloud in the sky. We've gotten used to this, and we're going to have another day just like it. 59 our current temperature here in Burlington. The rest of the day, we're going to be warming up again into the upper 70s. Some spots will get into the low 80s. Just plain old sunshine. Getting tired of it? Need some rain? Well, we've actually got that on the way, and we'll be talking about that in a few minutes.
Can you say sunny?
Can you say sunny?
All right, having fun with those graphics this morning. Thanks, Gary. The Newport State Prison is on lockdown after reports of shots fired near the facility. Employees at the Northern State Correctional Facility called state police just before 9 o'clock last night, saying there was possibly shots fired near the perimeter of the facility. So far, there are no reports of injury or escape. State police are investigating and will release an update when more information is available. A Burlington high school teacher is charged with having sex with a student. Giovanna Yaranga is banned from Burlington High School after nearly 15 years of teaching Spanish. Police say the 44-year-old had sex with a 17-year-old senior at least 10 times since last fall. The victim told police he and Yaranga would text each other in Spanish class to set up their meetings, then allegedly engaged in sexual acts in Yaranga's car, area hotels, and the victim's home.
This one's a head scratcher, obviously. You know, this is a woman who, by all accounts, was a good teacher, was respected in the community, and it's a case that certainly I think a lot of people are going to be asking themselves why or how could this have happened. But we want to make sure that not only she's held accountable, but the young person is taken care of.
Yaranga denied the allegations and pled not guilty to all 4 counts in court. If convicted, she faces up to 20 years in prison. She's on paid administrative leave while the criminal case plays out. The Burlington superintendent calls the case deeply upsetting and claims the district had no evidence of the teacher's alleged sexual misconduct. 3 freight cars will be pulled from the Passumpsic River this morning after derailing in East Barnet. The cars went off the tracks near the Comerford Dam. 2 cars are almost completely submerged. Luckily, no one was hurt. The cars were carrying feed grain for Washington County Railroad. State police say it appears the cars tumbled because of bank erosion. Firefighters are heading back out this morning to deal with the aftermath of a forest fire in Waterville. As many as 20 acres have already burned. Crews have been battling that blaze for hours. 2 firefighters suffered minor injuries but were treated on the scene. They say they didn't plan to stay overnight, but that fire is contained.
They did a back burn on it from the top of the ridge back, so there's no more fuel for the fire to burn. And so we do have a lot of trees that are burning up in there. We're going to be trying to put those out as best we can for tonight. It's not really safe to be up in the woods.
No homes were threatened. They have no idea yet what started that fire. In St. Johnsbury, a 4-alarm grass fire off Caledonia Street. Fire crews are looking into whether someone's burn pile sparked that blaze. It took crews a few hours to get that fire under control. And in Colchester, a grass fire closed part of Route 7 near the Poor Farm Road on Monday afternoon. Crews were able to use a snowmobile trail to reach the top of that hill. That helped them get that fire under control quickly. The House and Senate are both signing off on a bill giving immigrant farm workers the right to legally drive in Vermont. They would have to provide proof of identity and residency in Vermont. The cards would not allow the holders to board planes or enter federal buildings. There is a free way for you to start testing out fishing on Lake Champlain. Lake Champlain International, or LCI, is starting a free fishing equipment loan program, which allows people to borrow poles and tackle for up to 5 days. The idea is to get more people to care about the health of Lake Champlain.
If you're not spending time out on the water, you don't really get a connection with it. Just same thing if you're walking through the woods, you don't really get a connection with the forest. So when you spend time on the water, you're going to care for it.
The program doesn't have an official name just yet. LCI is looking for suggestions. I may have to test that out, Gary.
Okay,
I've never been fishing on Lake Champlain.
Me neither.
Really? Maybe we better go.
I'm going to wait for the water to warm up just a
Some
little bit more.
investigative journalism right there.
Yeah, there you go. Well,
Welcome back, everybody. This dry weather is certainly creating conditions for a lot of fires across the region, which is tough to watch, but we know that eventually it's coming to an end by the end of this week.
it will be. Yeah, we got the fires, and the fire danger exists. It's very high. And also the pollen count is extremely high, too.
Fully aware.
There's nothing Mother's Day, and only in the mid-50s come next Monday, so that's going to be kind of a shock to the system.
Are you going to be around to explain this bad weather to my mom?
Yeah, have her Facebook me.
All right, you don't have a
Even though I don't
Facebook.
have a Facebook account.
All right, well, we've been lucky enough to have the weather while it lasted. Thanks, Gary. Up next, a warning about certain migraine medications for pregnant mothers. And 3 women missing for more than a decade are found alive in Cleveland. We've got the latest on the discovery. 3 brothers are in custody this morning, being questioned about holding women hostage for 10 years in a Cleveland home. Anne-Marie Green has more on this shocking story in our World Watch.
3 women.
Certain migraine medications might lower a child's intelligence if a mom takes it while she's pregnant. That's the word from the Food and Drug Administration. The FDA says the drugs include Depakote and Depakon. The FDA is adding new warnings to the drugs' labels. A cookie recall at Hannaford because they might contain nuts. They are 9-ounce packages of Hannaford Gourmet Oatmeal Raisin Cookies and 36-ounce Hannaford Gourmet Cookie Platters. We have a link to the UPC codes in the info center at WCAX.com. The grocery trains says you can return those cookies for a full refund. Up next, we take a look at what's trending in the tech world, what it means to see Facebook on this year's Fortune 500 list, coming up in WebWatch. Facebook has hardly been a publicly traded company for more than a year, but it's launched its way onto the Forbes Fortune 500 list, landing at 482. The list is based on the 500 American companies with the highest revenues. Some pretty familiar names rounded out the top 3, Walmart, Exxon, and Chevron. But Fortune editors say Facebook's quick moves onto the list show that it's following a similar path as Google. Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook's CEO, is the youngest person on that list. There was a lot of movement on the list this year, which suggests that business is ready to get moving after sitting on the sidelines. Now, people want to know when the jobs are coming. And some other people might want to know if and when our friend Gary Sadowski is ever going to join Facebook.
And one of these days. And this is kind of the last day. Most of tomorrow is looking like we're going to see some more sunshine, but late tomorrow we're finally going to get some much needed rain in here.
Get outside while you can.
Exactly.
The sun is going to head out soon. All right, thanks, Gary. Coming up, VTrans joins us to talk about some road work that could be affecting your commute this summer. Stay with us. Welcome back, everybody. Brent Curtis is here from VTrans to talk about some road projects that are ongoing starting now and throughout the summer, a lot of them. This morning, we're going to talk about some Route 7 road work on Shelburne Road.
Yes, we are. That particular stretch of roadway is being paved, and we're doing it at night, starting at 6 p.m. in the evening, going through to the next morning. Now, we are expecting delays, and what we have found is that evening commute has kind of lingered on past 6 o'clock. So we're getting some delays on Route 7. We're working on the main line paving through there, and then we're going to tie in some driveways. But we ask people to exercise extreme caution because it is at night. It's very well lit. There is traffic control on scene. But again, expect some delays. And for local people who know a way around, we suggest you do that.
There's always a way around. We know that here in Vermont. We're also going to be talking about what's going on in Cambridge. You're saying it's kind of a trifecta.
That's what we talked about a little bit earlier. We touched on it earlier in the season. Right now in Cambridge, Route 108 has a major project, and that is a paving project going from Cambridge up to Fletcher, and that's creating some delays because the entire width of the of 108 is being paved. And then just south of that, down at the intersection of Route 15 and 108, we're installing a new roundabout. Right beside the roundabout, we're putting in a brand new bridge. So we do have a temporary bridge that's keeping traffic flowing smoothly, but when you get into that roundabout area, we've got some delays down there, but right in there, there's 3 major projects going on at just about the same time. Folks are seeing some delays in morning commute and afternoon commute. Let's be real careful going through there.
And is it a new roundabout to the area? I know sometimes those are a little difficult to get used to.
Yes, it is brand new to the area, and we'll see how people adapt to that. But keep in mind, up in that area, we've got a roundabout over in Hyde Park and a couple others in that area, in that vicinity. So, you know, it's just a question of something new.
Exactly, and it just takes getting used to.
Yes, it does.
So we don't want to have any accidents. All right, now let's see if we can handle this, Bren. We were struggling earlier, and by we, I mean me. But we have a picture here of what you're calling a rock slide on Route 5A. This just happened last night.
That's correct. This is in Westmore on Route 5A, and this occurred in the early evening hours between 5 and 6 last night. Currently, this particular stretch of road on 5A is open to 1-lane traffic, but you can get a look at what we had to face last night. There was no accident, no injuries. We're lucky to come upon that, and our crews got right on it, but we've got a lot of work to do up in 5A this morning.
Yeah, and I don't know if folks can see it. I mean, that's a truck, and that's the boulder. So obviously, these are very huge rocks.
Yes, they are. Yes, we couldn't remove them on last night, so we of course laid out the proper safety cones, etc., and we're right at it today.
What happens to those rocks?
Well, they'll be removed from the area.
Just taken from the area and find somewhere else to go.
That's correct.
All right, well, Brent Curtis, we love having you on. Thank you so much for all the updates, and we wish everybody safe work on those roads at night and during the day.
Thanks, Molly.
Thanks for being here. Coming up next, we've got a look at some of today's top stories, including an update on a specialty food store with its sights set on South Burlington. In our headlines this morning, lawmakers try to reconcile competing tax plans. Regulators reject a wind turbine complaint, and a community finally gets its supermarket back 2 years after being flooded out. But before we get to those stories, no news in the flooding in the forecast this morning.
No, it's just been way too dry. We actually need some rain out there, and we're going to be getting it, but not today. Let's take a look outside. Skywatch 3 showing us another one of those mornings, a lot like the last several mornings. Clear skies and sunshine going for us already. We're at 56 degrees here in Burlington. A lot of spots are pretty chilly this morning, but we're going to be warming right back up again under plenty of sunshine, 75 to 82 for highs. But yeah, we got some rain out of the way. We'll talk about that in a few minutes.
We're flooded with sunshine?
Mm-hmm. There you go.
There you go. All right. Thanks, Gary. Competing tax plans are on the table in Montpelier. House and Senate leaders are meeting now to hammer out a compromise. The House plan raises $27 million total in new revenue over this year's policy. That total is closer to $10 million in the Senate. Governor Shumlin has not been a fan of either plan.
We spent Friday sort of getting to understand each other's proposals. I think we'll dig a little deeper into some of the areas of difference. I don't think we're going to settle on a package until we have a clearer idea of how much revenue we're really needing to raise, and if any.
Turn to TV.
The idea of adding an excise tax for satellite TV users is on the table. House members scrapped it from their plan, but it still remains part of the Senate's proposal. Vermont regulators have rejected a noise complaint aimed at Vermont industrial wind farms. First Wind operates the 16-turbine project in Sheffield. A Sutton resident complained of excessive noise from the turbines, but the Vermont Public Service Board says the project is meeting its noise standards and is in compliance with its certificate of public good. The anti-wind group Vermonters for a Clean Environment is criticizing the PSB, noting that First Wind chose the company that conducted the sound monitoring. Authorities are asking for help in identifying a man who held up a gas station in Colchester on Sunday. Police say it happened around 11 a.m. at Finelli's convenience store on Route 7. A store clerk told police a robber, likely a male, entered the store wearing a ski mask, a black hooded jacket, gloves and jeans, showed a handgun, and demanded all the cash in the register. Police believe the male's about 5 feet 9 inches tall with a 9 build. If you have any information or recognize the person in the photo, please call Colchester Police. A former Vermonter will leave her North Carolina jail cell to have her baby back home. Police say Lindsay Smith helped her boyfriend, Michael Brady of Randolph, after he shot an officer in the face in Durham, North Carolina. Smith is charged with being an accessory after the fact. She's at least 36 weeks pregnant. North Carolina officials are allowing Smith to return to Vermont to give birth. She will be on house arrest while she's here. A happy ending for the search of a missing man. 54-year-old Leslie Raymond Wood wandered away from a Wallingford home for people suffering from head injuries on Monday afternoon. Last night, police say he's been found and he's okay. He's now back at the Lenny Burke farm. Trader Joe's cleared a big hurdle in its efforts to set up shop in South Burlington. The specialty food chain wants to build a 1,300 square foot store off Dorset Street next to Healthy Living. On Monday night, South Burlington City Council gave the approval for the plan. Record flooding 2 years ago left Johnson without a grocery store, but developers announced on Monday that's about to change. The Grand Union Market closed back in the spring of 2011 after the Lamoille River jumped its banks and filled that store with nearly 2 feet of water. Now, Mike Como, who owns food stores in Richmond and Waterbury, will open the Village Market in the space. Town officials say having a food store is essential to having a vibrant downtown.
Without the grocery store, my fear was the village was going to wither and die. Every downtown, every village needs some sort of an anchor economic engine. The grocery store is definitely that for us.
The new store is expected to open in August, creating 40 jobs, 15 of them full-time positions. 4 Vermont chefs were in the running at Monday night's James Beard Awards. They were semifinalists for Best Chef in the Northeast. The Kitchen Table's Stephen Atkins, Hen of the Woods' Eric Warnstead, and Aaron Jasinski and Nathaniel Wade of Misery Loves Company all got the nod, but in the end, that award went to a chef from Maine. Well, we all know how good they are. Coming up next, Gary's got a really good forecast for us. And a little later, we'll tell you about these Vermont-made products, especially for pampering. Welcome back, everybody. Gary, you were talking about it early in the show. 2 years ago, the lake was at record high levels.
Right, it was.
We were swamped. This year, completely the opposite. We are being flooded with sunshine, and it's actually getting dangerously dry out there.
It's really too dry. We've been seeing wildfires, flaring up here and there, and we still have a high fire danger during next Monday. High temperatures in the 50s. There are some indications that some spots might not get out of the 40s for highs by Monday, too. So that'll be kind of a shock to the system.
Yeah, kind of like
warm weather.
Cutting the temperature in half?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah. Well, I know that the allergy sufferers out there are welcoming that rain.
Yeah, a lot of people welcoming that rain. We need it.
Been a tough stretch. The Yankees start a series in Colorado tonight, and it was a dramatic night in Fenway for the Red Sox last night. Scott's got the highlights in our sports wrap.
The Red Sox and
Up next, it's time for the 3-Minute Wrap, a look at local and national headlines, including a train accident in the Northeast Kingdom. It's time for this morning's 3-Minute Wrap, getting you up to speed every morning in just 3 minutes. The state prison in Newport went into lockdown after reports of shots fired near the facility. Employees at the Northern State Correctional Facility called state police just before 9 o'clock last night, saying there were possible shots fired near the prison. So far, there are no reports of injury or escape. State police are investigating. 3 freight cars will be pulled from the Passumpsic River this morning after derailing in East Barnet. The cars went off the tracks near the Comerford Dam. 2 cars are almost completely submerged. Luckily, no one was hurt. The cars were carrying feed grain for Washington County Railroad. State police say it appears those cars tumbled because of a bank erosion. A Burlington High School teacher is charged with having sex with a student. Giovanna Uranga is now banned from Burlington High School after nearly 15 years of teaching Spanish. Police say the 44-year-old had sex with a 17-year-old senior at least 10 times since the fall in Uranga's car, at area hotels, and the victim's home. She denied the allegations and pled not guilty to all 4 counts in court. If convicted, she faces up to 20 years in prison. 3 Cleveland women who were missing for more than a decade were found alive on Monday.
Help me, I'm Amanda Berry. I I've been kidnapped and I've been missing for 10 years, and I'm here. I'm free now.
A neighbor helped Amanda Berry escape from the home where she was being held hostage. She then called 911, and police were able to rescue Deanna DeJesus and Michelle Knight.
This is really good because this isn't the ending we usually hear to these stories.
Authorities say they have 3 men in custody in connection with the case. The officer charged with training Air Force personnel to prevent sexual assault is now being accused of sexual assault. Police say Colonel Jeffrey Kaczynski drunkenly fondled a woman in a Northern Virginia parking garage. Krasinski has been removed from his post. Wildfire in Waterville had dozens of firefighters on the scene. As many as 20 acres have already burned. Crews have been battling that blaze for hours. They're now back burning that perimeter containment, and they have no idea what started the fire. Immigrant farm workers will soon be able to drive legally in the state of Vermont. The House passed a plan to allow driver privilege cards for undocumented workers. They would have to provide proof of identity and residency in Vermont. The cards would not allow the holders to board planes or enter federal buildings. Trader Joe's cleared a big hurdle in its push to open up in South Burlington. The specialty food chain wants to build a 1,300 square foot store off of Dorset Street next to Healthy Living. Monday night, South Burlington City Council gave approval to the plan. And that's a wrap. Gary, over to you.
Now, as far as the weather, it's not a wrap yet, so we've been crushing that. And,
crushing.
Yeah, we need rain, but we've got that on the way starting tomorrow night in our southern areas, and then we've got a few days of on and off showers after that, so it's coming.
The progression of green in the area right now is really remarkable.
It really
it's
has
just
greened up out there.
Perfect timing for graduation season. So who can complain except the allergy sufferers and the farmers. Up next, it's time for Made in Vermont, a Vermont company looking to pamper its customers. Skincare products might not always make you think of food, but Gina Bullard found some that contain some sweet ingredients good enough to eat, and they're made in Vermont. Gina Bullard always getting those tough assignments.
Yeah, indeed. You can eat it or wear it. I like that. How
there you go.
Well, let's take a look at the forecast. Another one of those sunny, warm days today, 75 to 82. But things starting to change tomorrow. Now, we're going to start the day with sunshine, but then we have a system moving in with clouds and a few showers, mainly in our southern areas, late afternoon into the evening. They'll spread northward into the overnight hours, 73 to 80 tomorrow. And then showers, maybe even a thunderstorm or two Thursday, and looking at some wet weather and cooler weather heading into the weekend.
All right. Well, we'll enjoy the sunshine while it sticks around. Thanks, Gary. And thank you so much for joining us this morning. Have a great day.